Hello, everybody, and welcome in for Midwest Esports, fifth round of our endurance series here. So we've got 10 guys here tonight out on track currently, you see, and we've got a couple more that are going to be joining in a little bit later. So we'll see a couple more numbers most likely. Hopefully we'll get up to 15. Not quite sure what the cap was at tonight. But as I said, we're here in France, and this is round 5, so we're just at the halfway point right now for our season, and we've had a pretty good season so far. Not a whole lot of interesting stuff, not anything too crazy, that is, I should say. We've had plenty of interesting things happen. But we'll take a look at the standings here real quick for you. And we got Scorenzi still out in front in the Williams there, tied with Meeb, and who's also in first there with 71 points to both of their names. And then El Majacco coming in third with 67, barely edging out Lancey in P4, the other Williams driver, with 66. And we got Lightwork rounding out your top 5. Pull up the constructors for you here as well. We got Williams with a pretty dominant lead from the start of the season. Have just continued to climb, and they're sitting at 137, leading this championship here, with Aston Martin in second place with a 115, followed by Mercedes in a 94. And so we're kind of seeing this turn into a little bit of a two-horse race here, unless Mercedes are going to be able to pull something out tonight. We got just Meeb in the Mercedes this week, so we have a tall order in front of him, but he's a fairly fast driver, so I'm sure he'll be able to pull something out for us here today. You see a couple of these guys are going to be coming out of the pits now. Looks like everybody's going to be running the soft tire. Here right on board with Slayer Eyes in the Aston, doing a little bit of jockeying there with A-Dub in the McLaren just in front of him. Might be wanting to capitalize off of a slipstream around here. France can be a pretty tricky circuit sometimes, especially in the rain, but it looks like we're going to have dry running here today. A lot of sweeping corners, and if you just go a little bit too far over onto a curb somewhere or hit the gas a little too much, you could very easily spin out and ruin your whole race. We're going to, in this 100% series, it's pretty easy to catch back up to the field in a sense compared to the normal 50% that most league racers are used to running. But it's not going to be any easier to pass anybody. So some of these guys I know are pretty quick. Shout out Slayer Eyes, he's pretty fast himself. Forward, got pretty consistent times. Meeb is a star performer for sure. And we absolutely cannot count out our champion from Season 1, El Majacco there in the Mercedes. He's sitting down in 8th at the moment on these standings, but we'll probably see him jump to the front of the field. Got Slayer has had a little bit of traffic coming out of the pits there, but didn't hinder him at all, and he's off into Sector 1 now. This corner he's coming up on can be particularly interesting. You gotta kind of let off and just rotate through it at a weird timing, and it feels like you should be able to go faster, but there's just no way for it. So this track requires a bit more patience than others in that sense. We got most everybody out on track at the moment on a flying lap, so we'll see where these guys are kind of shake loose. Got A-Dub and Forward both, I believe, are going to be running through hot laps. So Forward's going to be the first to cross the line. So right on with him, see what he's able to post up for everybody. So Forward's going to go ahead and set up a 131.9, quickly to be beaten out by 131.2 by A-Dub there in the McLaren. Slayerized with a 132.286 there in the Alfa Romeo, just bringing out the final 3. So we're going to see El Majacco take pole for the moment with a 130.745. That's going to be the fastest I think I've seen in quite some time around France. I'm used to running in the slower divisions, and it's going to be a lightning fast time to beat, I betcha. Anybody hanging out in chat, go ahead and let me know what your predictions are for this race. See your top three, any standout performances you're expecting, anybody you want to perform better after a couple of lousy weeks maybe. I'm going to be keeping my eye on Elma Jacko, Meeb, and dare I say forward. Like to see him put in a nice performance. He hasn't been around the last few weeks. Been away from his rig for a while, but it's got him back out tonight, so be excited to see what he's able to do. You're going to see Johnny Damon set a 132.3 to take 5th spot, and Phil Nerve with a 132.5, and P. Gonzalez taking that 7th spot with a 132.7. So pretty consistent times from the top half and the bottom half of those 7 drivers. So I'm curious to see what kind of situation is going to come later in qualifying here. He's got Meeb on his outlap now, and he is definitely a driver you don't want to count out. There have been multiple times where I've seen him at the back of the field just charge his way to the front, and if he doesn't win, he will finish on the podium. So exciting mix here tonight, I think, with some of these drivers. I'm taking a look at our records here, and Meeb is currently on a hot streak here. He won in Canada and in Imola, so we'll see if he's able to make that a triple threat here tonight, or if someone else is going to be able to claim that title. So I don't think we've ever had, we've never had, we have had 3 wins in a row before, and it was none other than Meeb himself. So if anyone can do it, it's going to be him. Just got Meeb and Baba Yaga out on track at the moment. Everyone else is sitting in the pits. Looks like we're going to have a Alfred Sauri coming out of the pits here in a moment, but I don't think that's going to be anything too concerning for these drivers. Maybe Baba Yaga for the first bit of his lap, if that guy, I guess he's not coming out of the pit, so we don't have to worry. I see Meeb getting nice and close to the outside line there. Just grabs it through. A little bit of hesitation there on the rotation through, and he has invalidated. Gonna see Baba Yaga is back in the pits, so we'll just ride on board. We got Lancey here coming out on a heater as well, just ahead of got Slayer as forward and Gonzalez all out on outlaps at the moment, and we can see Lancey set the fastest Sector 1, and he did have pole last weekend, just wasn't able to bring it home for a win. I believe he finished 3rd in that race, but we'll see what he's able to do through Sector 2 here. He is a very quick driver, very capable driver, so I'm excited to see what he's got to show for us tonight. Didn't set a personal best in Sector 2, but it looked like he was still up on his time. Yellow flag in Sector 1. It looks like Meeb has stopped on track, or maybe he's just going pretty slow. They're going to see Lancey wasn't able to improve on his time, just 3,000 slower actually, so unfortunate for him. Sure, he's going to give it another try in a moment. He's got those tires he's on are 3 laps old, so if he's able to stay that close to his original time, I think we're going to see a massive improvement at the end of qualifying once he's fit some pit and put on some fresh rubber. On board with me, see what he's able to give us here as he's coming into Sector 3 now, just approaching that flat out into an immediate lift there. So we are going to see him come straight into the pits. So El Majacco on an outlap at the moment. Looks like he's going to be getting ready to set another heater. See if he's able to improve on his time. A-Dub currently in second place at the moment on an invalidated lap. So we'll see if he's going to be going around again. I believe he is, so we'll ride on board with him on those fresh set of tires. As is Forward, who just set a 131.0 to take second position away from A-Dub for the moment. Just a couple tenths faster than him, almost exactly. So we're going to see A-Dub set the new fastest Sector 1 time there, so he has something for those top two drivers, it looks like. Grabs quite a bit of curb there, but keeps the car under control and gets a pretty decent rotation out on the throttle very quickly, able to keep control of it as well. I see Forward stopped on track there. I'll come back to him in a moment and see what that all is about. We're going to see A-Dub here. He sets a 130, so he does go faster, and he is faster than Forward. And I think Forward might have ran out of gas there. It looks like he got himself disqualified. So I wouldn't be surprised with that, but he was able to set himself a 131.0, so that should be a little bit harder for some of these guys to beat, and we're going to see some corner cutting there, so not something we like to see from any of our drivers. See, Gonzalez also ran out of fuel there, but Forward is having a little bit of technical difficulties with his rig there. That's why we saw him stop where he was on track. See Neeb starting a flying lap at the moment, it looks like. Yeah, we're going to be seeing him just coming up to start one now. He has yet to set a qualifying time. He's had a couple of invalidations and might have just been a little bit off his groove, and back into the pits he goes. So I'm not sure what his strategy is there. El Majacco sets the new fastest lap with a 130.5, so just a little bit faster than his previous time. Right on board Baba Yaga here in the Red Bull. He's a very solid and consistent driver. We see him turn up. He hasn't missed a race since the start of this series, and he's a pretty qualified driver, I'd say. He saw himself shoot up the standings from 8th all the way up to 5th after a good result last weekend, where not many drivers showed up, so it was big points on the table for anyone who did, and he was one who managed to finish pretty high up. So, good result from him last week. I'm sure he's going to be looking to continue off of that as he starts his first flying lap here now. Got just 3.5 minutes left in qualifying, and then we're going to be going to the race. So we got a short qualifying if you're unfamiliar with how we do it around here usually. If we got less than 15, we'll go short. But otherwise, if we got more than 15 in this endurance series, we will run a full quali, which is always super exciting. Seeing how that works out for these different drivers and their strategies. And we're going to see Baba Yagas, the fastest Sector 1 there. So a lot of drivers have set Sector 1 fastest times. So we are seeing the track ramp up quite a bit as it progresses on through qualifying here. And these guys are going to be wanting to wait until the last minute if they can to set their final laps, as the track's going to be west the best. It's a little bit slower on that corner there. That can be a pretty tricky one though. Looks like he's just being a bit cautious there as he's going to be coming around to the final corner now. This one has thrown me off so many times. I either clip that inside curb or go a little bit too wide on the outside there. But we see Baba Yaga has no problems with it. Puts it right on the outside. Going to go through and set himself a 132.8. Oh, so there we get an explanation there from forward. Looks like he had a little bit of a wheel issue after during his qualifying, and then Gonzalez tapped into the rear of him. But Gonzalez was out of gas and forward having the wheel difficulties, probably a Ferrari. I'm going to see El Majaco is in the pits at the moment. I see Meeb on an outlap now. Lancia also going to set himself a new best if he can. Johnny Damon's still in the pits at the moment with a 130 left in qualifying. You're going to want to get out on track probably right about now, unless you're not planning on setting another lap. As we saw there, Lancia set the fastest Sector 2 time. So as I just previously said, the track is ramping up quite a bit. So we'll see what he's able to do with that here. He was on pole last week. We'll see if he's able to do it again. He's coming down to the final corner at the moment. It's nice, steady rotation there. Puts it a little far on the curb. Gets a little bit of wheel spin because of it. And then a foot flat through this next part here. He's going to jump himself up to fourth with a gain of 1.076 seconds. So very impressive gains there. I'm not sure he's going to be able to set another lap. I'm not sure he's going to have enough battery to do that. But Lancia saw himself move up from 6th to 4th there with that one. And got A-Dub has also retired in P2. He feels pretty confident nobody's going to be able to beat that one there. Slayer Eyes might have something for him, maybe not. We'll see. Got Meeb on a flying lap. We'll see if he actually finishes this one here. As he gets a little bit on the inside there, maybe not having the best time with his setup right now. He keeps the lap valid though, which is impressive, and he may be starting from more towards the back this race. That's nothing he's not used to. So currently sitting on provisional pole is El Majaco with that 130.5, followed by A-Dub in the McLaren. Forward in the Ferrari there, taking that number 3 spot. Lancia unable to beat anything they had. Starting 4th for the Williams there. Got Slayerized in 5th, it's going to be looking like. Johnny Damon is sitting 6th. Oh wow, Meeb he takes pole at the last second there. Even with that accident he had, he's still 2/10 clear almost of El Majaco. That's an impressive lap time right there. The 130.391 to grab pole in the last second he could. And that is going to see him sitting in the top there. A-Dub gets bumped down. Lancia able to take over that number 3 spot there from him. So that's going to drop forward down to 5th, and we're going to see Slayer Eyes are going to be coming around on an invalidated lap. So that is going to be the end of qualifying. There you have it. You see Meeb sitting in the top spot with a 130.3, El Majaco with a 130.5, Lancia with a 130.7 is your top 3 with them. Mercedes, Aston Martin, and Williams there. No strangers seeing those 3 fighting out of the front there, and followed by A-Dub in the number 4, forward number 5, and 6th for Slayerized in the Alfa Romeo. And then Johnny Damon in the other Ferrari there, taking the number 7 spot. Villeneuve there in 8th. Alpha Tauri pairing right up next to each other. P. Gonzalez just behind him. And then you got Baba Yaga in the Red Bull. And there you're going to see your qualifying order for tonight's race. Here we got Hoxid just joining in last minute, so he will be starting from the back there. Just be just a few moments here as all these drivers are going to be setting up their race strategies that they're going to want to run for tonight. We see some of these guys are probably going to be running extra fuel, some are probably going to be running less fuel, and I'm not sure how any of these guys manage it, but however they do it seems to work best for them. We are going to be having a dry race, it's looking like Forward is saying, so thank you for that right there. So shouldn't see any weather playing any parts in today. But yesterday's race in most of the divisions, Baba Yaga, that was a pretty good race, I'd say, or lap. Sorry, not race. But yeah, I know you got it. Just stay consistent, and you'll be able to move forward. I'm pretty sure. I imagine you'll be able to gain 2 or 3 spots out here tonight. So I'll be keeping my eye on you. But anyway, back to what I was saying. We saw the rain played a crucial part for most of our drivers in our Thursday night divisions. Yesterday at Spa, we had a bit of a wet start, super wet start, and then it turned dry, and then right back to super wet again. So it's a bit interesting for some of those drivers how they managed it. So rain can play a huge part in how races go, but we won't be seeing any of that here tonight. So just be another minute or so until we get going here. I'm giving these guys plenty of time to set any strategy that they're going to want. It can be super crucial here. And turn 1 also can be a bit of a mess here. So we got Meeb on pole there, Valentine. He set in a stonking lap last second to move himself from last all the way up to first, and then we're going to have Jacko and Lancey finishing out your top 3 for you. So anyone in the comments want to, give me some predictions here, who you think's going to win? So I got my money on Meeb right now with Jacko P3. I'm going to say Lancey P2. Run with that and see how wrong I am, as always. Forward's got his money on Meeb. Not sure that inter-race betting is allowed, but maybe it's something we could talk about at some point. Maybe quit my day job, that'd be nice. See, Hoxid has left this session, so I'm not sure what's going on with that, if he had a disconnect there, if he's just not planning on racing here tonight. But we got 23 to go until the formation lap starts. Yeah, Spa in the wet is it's never fun. It's survivable if you go about 10 miles an hour, but other than that, it's pretty much just chaos. Got Hoxid back in there, so I'm not sure if he's going to make it out on the track or not. Made it in time for that. Not sure, but there you guys see we got them pulling away for their formation lap. Meeb is going to be leading them away. Nobody looking like they really need to go off the line, so should be in for a pretty interesting race here. Got 53 laps for you. You can see predicted pit strategy is going to be 17 to 31 laps there on the set of mediums for a 2-stop. Softs at 43. And then a hard to medium, and then another stint on mediums. Is the alternate strategy it's showing me there. Similar pit windows though, so curious about that. Valentine's going with Jacko P1. Alright, I see it. Lancey's taking P2. I got my vote in that same corner. As you can see there, we got Meeb is currently the only person running hards at the moment. Forward's the only person running soft. Everyone else on the mediums. Forward to AW P3. I'd like to see Forward make his way up onto the podium. It's been a while since I've got to get to see that beautiful avatar up there. Got these guys coming around the final corner now, the first two that is. So it won't be long here until everyone's back in their spots and we're going to be getting ready to go. See me practicing a little bit of his Tokyo drift skills there, trying to warm up his tires an extra little bit. Lancey there in the Williams parking in. See the rest of the field forming up now. Three lights, 4 and 5 lights are on. And out they go and off we are. As you see, Meeb gets a pretty nice getaway there. Lancey has a much better getaway than Jacko though, and is quickly going to overtake him, move himself up into that number 2 spot. We're going to see Slayraz get ahead of Forward there. Might have had a little bit of a bad start there from him. P. Gonzalez gets up ahead of Baba Yaga as well. See Forward regains that position. He's going to be looking to make gains. Elma Jacko on the attack though. Gets himself back up into P2. Forward's going to want to move forward as quickly as he can here through these first few laps while everyone's kind of bunched together is going to be where those soft tires are going to be working their best. Meeb already with an 0.7 second lead. Wow. English. Already on just a few corners already, so I'm expecting him to be out of DRS by the end of this lap or the next, unless Jacko's got something for him. You know, Jacko burning off some of that overtake at the moment. You see Baba Yaga get back up ahead of P. Gonzalez there at the back of the field. Meeb has a little bit of a moment there, but catches control of it. Jacko is just 5/10 behind him. He's going to want to stay as close as he can. Last time out, we saw Meeb establish a dominant lead multiple times during the race. Jacko just didn't have any answer for him with some, because he had some underbody damage. And I see Lancey though is getting real close to the inside there. And I see AW not too far behind them. Hards are pretty bad around here. They are definitely not my favorite. We're going to see a yellow flag back in this Sector 3. We're going to see Villeneuve looked like went around. So back on board with AW here as these top 4 drivers are all pretty close to each other. And we got Forward not far behind them, ready to pounce on anything he can. So Meeb with a 142.7 is going to be our first fastest lap time of the evening on the hards. Don't expect to see that again. We got AW closing in a little bit now, it looks like, as we saw Jacko go wide up there. Lancey able to capitalize. Doesn't look like it. Jacko is a pretty controlled driver, so even if he's off track, you can imagine he's got it pretty well handled no matter what. Jacko was able to stay within half a second of Meeb there, and Lancey within half a second in Jacko, so they're going to be riding a bit of a DRS train for a while here. It's going to negate a bit of their progress. Looks like AW's got something though for Lancey coming up shortly. He's just been creeping up closer and closer on the back of him, rocking that McLaren. Well, that's probably my favorite color orange ever created. I love to see it out on track. We don't get many McLarens in the 100% series, as for some reason there's a bit of a curse on that car. But we're going to see another yellow flag in Sector 2. That's going to be Villeneuve back with another spin, it looks like. Might have grabbed some more curb there. See these top 4 drivers are spreading out a little bit at the front, but not too much. Lancey is close to a little bit on Jacko there. It's getting all up close and friendly. See a bit of a gap starting to form between the Forward and Slayraz, just out of a second, unfortunately for Slayraz. Forward's going to be rejoicing with that. Meeb with another fastest lap time. DRS is fully enabled now, and the fun is about to begin. That is right, Valentine. I'm expecting to see a bit of a interesting mix here between some of these top 4. I hope we get some clean racing, not any nasty overtakes. So far, everybody's been clean, especially in a turn one. I don't think we even had anybody banging wheels there, so love seeing that as a commentator. See, forward has slipped back just a touch from A-Dub, just about a tenth or so, so nothing too crucial under DRS. All these guys are going to be running it. Jacko is crucially just about outside of that DRS window of Meeb up at the front. So hopefully he's able to keep that consistent. Nobody's going to be able to really gain anything with DRS as everybody has it except for Meeb. So they won't be able to use that to help them get ahead of anybody. And Jacko's closed down that gap by about half a tenth of a second or so. So hopefully he's able to ride that DRS train at least for a few laps, kind of pull himself away from these other drivers. As you can see, A-Dub falling back a bit now from Lancey as well, just about 8.9 tenths of a second there. Forward is staying pretty close and consistent there with A-Dub. It hasn't really changed too much, staying right around half a second behind him. And Jacko closed down that gap by another tenth in these last few corners, so impressive work by him. Meeb is a dominant driver for sure. Elma Jacko now with the fastest lap of the 135.8. He is on the hunt now, so we'll go ahead and hop on board with him and ride out a couple of corners with them and see what's going on at the front of the field here. Let's see, Villeneuve has got himself back 11 seconds after a couple of early spins. P. Gonzalez not far behind him. And Ben Baba Yaga there in 8th at the moment. Yes, Lancey does get impatient sometimes. I have seen that a couple times on stream in previous races where it hasn't exactly gone the way he's wanted at the end of it, but see what he's able to do tonight. I know he's been going to be wanting to get back at Mead for Canada. Just starting on pole and just not able to finish in first. Ended up taking 3rd place that race. You can see Jacko go wide again there, that same corner, so I think he's having a little bit of an understeer problem with his car maybe, or he's just trying to push as crazily as he can to stay with me. Lancey though, it seems like he's just had a breeze of things just following these guys. A-Dub hasn't really been a challenger too much. He is still within that DRS window, but far enough back to where he doesn't have to worry about defending from him every corner. See, Jacko's now on the hunt. He's got that gap down to 3 tenths. Wow, he's closed down 2 tenths on that straight there. Looking like he may be in a pretty good position there. Got a decent amount more overtake. Lancey having the most out of those 3 drivers there. We got forward still on the back of A-Dub at the moment. Is able to close down that gap a bit. So we'll see what he's able to do here as A-Dub has just fallen almost completely out of DRS. He's barely within it now, and don't think he's going to get it this next time around when we come up to a straight, as he's outside of a second now, unless he's able to make it up here in the corners. Might be running a bit more downforce than the rest of these guys to try to manage these. Some of these corners can be a bit tricky for the, not sure how skilled A-Dub is. Don't want to call him inexperienced, but it could be what he's facing tonight. As forward's going to get up right close on the back of him, see if he's going to make a move here into the corner. He wants to probably, but doesn't make it there. He's going to be saving that for the exit, I would imagine. Not able to get a better exit there. As A-Dub was able to get more traction to the first phase of that exit. And A-Dub is just about within a second range right now. He gets it back into a second range, but I'm not sure if it was in time for that, for the DRS indicator. He does not have DRS. Jump back up to these front 3. Lancey's closed down a little bit. Jacko's holding that back at half a second gap back now from Meeb. A-Dub crucially able to get back within a second before this DRS zone, so that's going to help him out a lot. You see that flap opening up. See forward back there, not able to close down as quickly anymore as he was previously. I'm sure Lance is going to be trying to push to get up closer to El Majaco to try to get that gap farther behind between him and Lancey and A-Dub. Forward is hot on the heels of A-Dub though after that straightaway. He's got himself back into 2.5 tenths of a second almost. Very calm and under control through these long corners. A-Dub is crucially able to get back into a second gap just before all of the DRS zones to get that DRS, but he must be running on a lot higher downforce as Forward is still able to gain so much on him there. Lancey's fallen back to about half a second behind El Majaco now, so these guys all pretty evenly distributed at the top here. I'm sure Meeb is going to be looking to pull away if he can in a little while, not sure where. Yeah, most of these guys got pretty high reserves of ERS. You're going to see a yellow from Villeneuve there in the back, not sure what happened, but he's going to be 5 seconds back on his teammate. Meeb 4 tenths ahead of Jago now. No penalties across the board as of yet. So look at our position change. See Gonzalez stayed stationary where he's at. Johnny Damon up 1, Slayer Eyes down 1, Baba Yaga up 2. Told you. And Villeneuve down 2 as was not able to really close that gap down again. A-Dub did not have DRS on that straightaway, so that allowed Forward to gain back up on him, and I think A-Dub's just got him in the corners, and that's why he's been able to keep that lead he's got on him. We've seen Forward burn off some of his ERS to try to close down that gap, and same from A-Dub, but to preserve it. A-Dub does get DRS once again. Forward wants to make something happen on the inside here, but just a little too far back to try to lunge up in there. It'd be super risky in these 100% races to try something early in the race, as it would not take much to get you out for good. So crucially, A-Dub doesn't have DRS on this back straight. Meeb sets a new fastest lap with a 1:35.734, so not much faster than Majaco's lap, if I'm remembering correctly. Forward able to get close, but just not able to seal the deal. For sure, that's got to be frustrating for him, sitting in 5th place at the moment with his Ferrari teammate 5.7 seconds behind him. As El Majaco has now fallen almost completely out of DRS, and just as I say that, he managed to claw it back again. Villeneuve makes a pass on P. Gonzalez. El Majaco getting a little bit bumpy there coming onto the braking zone. but keeps control of his car well. Lancey's still right there on his gearbox, putting quite a bit of pressure on him, I would imagine. And he's going to be wanting some of that pressure to help push him forward into Meeb. Lancey had to grab a little bit more brakes than he would have liked to there. Forward has now got himself just about a second back on A-Dub. Not sure if he had a little bit of a moment or what. He's now 1.1 behind. And both of them have fallen away from DRS of the car in front. Got Slayer Eyes right on the back of Johnny Damon though. I'm wondering if Slayer Eyes is going to have a move here for us. Slayer Eyes out here tonight being the only person repping MMR, which is Monkey Mafia Racing. It's a super awesome group of guys. Just love racing and chatting and hanging out and helping each other become the best racers we all can be, so love seeing things like that. We're going to see P. Gonzalez as our first retirement from this session. Looks like he just might not have been having it. Just unfortunate to see, but at least he did it in the pits. That's not something we can say about a lot of these drivers. Well, not these drivers, but drivers sometimes like to just retire on track. Cynical drooling a little bit there in chat. We've got Slayer Eyes now closed down 10th on Johnny Damon there for a moment, but it's back up again. So looks like we still got a bit of a race here as Forward was able to close down that gap back within a second as well. So I imagine he got DRS on that straightaway. I'm going to see a yellow flag in Sector 1, and that looks like that is going to be Villeneuve there in the Alpha Tauri. Not sure what we've got going on with him. Oh, that's going to be Gonzalez's car, actually. Just out on track at the moment. Sometimes gets a little bit of a glitch there. And we'll come back out onto track. Slayer Eyes gets a little bit late on the brakes there, but able to control the car still. See, Forward is just outside of a second again on A-Dub, giving him a run for his money for sure. Talking about runs for money, I'm going to say Lancey has been giving Jacko one for sure, able to stay that close to him as Jacko was able to get that gap back down to half a second. So impressive driving from the top three. They're definitely pushing themselves up there at the front, and they've got themselves now a 2.2 gap to the nearest cars behind. So they are just out there on a mission, continually growing that gap. Let's see, Forward is 1.2 now behind A-Dub, so he did not have DRS this time around. See that Ferrari there in front of him harvesting some ERS. Doesn't have a lot to work with, but neither does Slayer Eyes by the looks of it, and Baba Yaga hanging out behind these guys by 11 seconds is putting in those calm, consistent laps. Very, very crucial to have this part of racing under control, otherwise you're never going to win any races. But see Meeb there still up in the front. Looks like he's got himself a good bit of ERS to work with still. Jacko behind him, not making it easy. Looks like he gets a nice little bit of there, but wow, Meeb just taking off in that straight line. Forward is going to be the first to come into the pits now. So he was running those soft tires. He had 10 laps on him, so I imagine they were getting pretty close to the end of their lifespan. Going to see that Ferrari coming into the pits now and looking like he's going for the mediums. So we'll see what he's able to do now with that strategy he's got. Slayer Eyes there with the DRS wide open, looking to gain anything he can on that other Ferrari now. We'll see. Forward is going to come out of the pits just behind Baba Yaga. It's going to be looking like, yep, 1.5 behind him on those fresh mediums. He's going to have the best grip on track at the moment, I would imagine. Not sure how those hards are holding up for me. I don't know how he's able to muscle them around this track, because that is certainly something I could never do. But El Majacco now just right there waiting for him to make the slightest mistake, and I think he's going to have that position pretty easily. And if Jacko makes a mistake himself, He's going to have Lancey to answer to, and they've now built that gap to A-Dub up to 3.0 seconds. A-Dub getting a little bit of breathing room from forward there. Wasn't able to make anything happen, so dove into the pits. Might have been a little bit early, not entirely sure. Right on board with these top three here is Lancey. Is a little bit, had to brake a little bit extra there, coming in a little too hot. Wasn't comfortable with that, it didn't look. So that compromised him a little bit for that corner, but he is able to still get a nice pull out of that corner, and it stays within half a second of these guys up here. Lancey goes a little bit wide there, and I was just about to say I'm curious where everybody's grip levels are at, if their tires are suffering from having to push as hard as these guys are. But Lancey is looking like he's having no problem closing that gap back up that he had. A couple tenths there, and just makes it disappear like it's nothing. So these top three drivers have been super consistent with each other all race, and now is the first time I think that their intervals were different, are more than a tenth different there. Let's see, Jacko's just a little bit back on Meeb, that coming up onto that straight there, but caught himself back up. So it looks like these guys are just able to kind of yo-yo slinky themselves off each other, but get up close but not able to make a pass, and they just end up falling back a little bit the next few corners. So I'm sure that's got to be very frustrating for them, as we are going to see a 3.2 second gap almost now between these three and the rest of the field. A-Dub got himself a nice 7-second gap to the, 10-second gap to Johnny Damon there behind him. And Slayer Eyes staying within a second of Johnny Damon, so we'll not sure that he's able to make anything happen before the pits, but if he is, we'll tune into it for sure. Forward is now just 2.4 back on Baba Yaga. He was 1.5, so might have had a little bit of an incident there, or maybe Baba Yaga just kicked it up into 8th gear. Shout out Cynical there in the chat there with the little tidbits of the drivers here. You got Slayer Eyes running a little bit higher downforce. Meeb sets a new fast lap, 135.711, so not much faster than his previous best, but is faster for sure, as he's got that gap now to jack up to 1.3 seconds. So yeah, you're not going to see, probably won't see Slayer Eyes get around Johnny Damon with that higher downforce unless he can make something happen coming into a corner. But I'm sure they're going to be having the battle of wits and the pit strategies, trying to come out on top of the rest of these drivers. Lap early or a lap too late can make all the difference. His forward sets a 135.5 there in that Ferrari, back in 8th place, seeing a much more representative pace from him. Got himself right up on the back of Baba Yaga now. Ford, previously a Red Bull driver, so I'm sure he's taking a nice long look at what used to be his seat. Hopefully, I'm sure he's hoping to not have to look too long though, as he's going to be wanting to make a move happen coming up onto this straight. It's probably where we're going to see it coming. Just getting a lot of acceleration on him there. Comes up alongside Baba Yaga and is just ahead now. Coming into the corner. That is a move done and dusted there for forward. Seeing him up into 7th place now. Not sure if you're listening forward, but if you are, you better get top 5. So Lancey is ahead of Jacko now. I'm sorry we missed that one on the stream there, but Lancey is now 1.1, just about a second behind. Mead there in front as Jacko is back on him as well at the same amount. So Lancey's got himself back up into that DRS window. Jacko is fighting for it as we speak. And we got A-Dub 4.2 behind. Kind of varying a little bit there, not able to pull out that full 5 seconds on him. See, Baba Yaga is within a second of forward now once again. He's able to use that DRS to his advantage on that straight. But it doesn't look like it's going to put him close enough to make anything happen just yet. You see a moment there from Lancey that's going to put Elma Jacko right up on his side. Lancey is able to keep the position for the moment. Jacko is cautious and backed out of that. Didn't want to end anybody race too early. But that is going to be trouble for Lancey for sure, as he's not going to have any sort of DRS, as he's now 2.2 behind Meeb up in front. So I imagine we'll see Jacko getting this one done here. Just a couple corners left in the 16th lap. We got 53 total, so don't go anywhere. We're not even halfway yet. So far we only had one retirement from P. Gonzalez there, just not his night. Drove it into the pits and called her a day. See, Jacko does get DRS there. Lancey with that straight line speed he's got up his sleeve, able to keep that gap pretty close to consistent there. Not able to lose too much out to Jacko. And he's got 2.6 to gain on Meeb ahead. See some of these drivers, quite a few different lines that are taken through these corners. Always interesting to see how everybody approaches corners, and I think going back and watching races like these would be a great way for some of these guys to learn about their competition and how they can improve themselves. See Jacko with a massive run here, gets himself down to 0.3 of a second with the help of DRS there. So Lancey went pretty far up onto the curbs there. He might have got a little bit of underbody damage. I'm not sure from that. I know this game can be pretty finicky sometimes with how you handle curbs. And it doesn't take much, and a little bit of underside damage and your race will pretty much be over at that point.